Hi everyone, how are you? How are you faring? This has been a really epic window between the full moon, lunar eclipse, and this new moon, solar eclipse, really bookending Virgo. So we are right in the new moon window, this new moon eclipse window. It's about 4 hours away right now here in the UK. And it has really been an epic journey for so many of us. I know many were very affected um, by the full moon at the beginning of Virgo, around the 6th, I think it was, 6th or 7th. I had an interesting time because my son's birthday is the day before the full moon eclipse, and my daughter's birthday is tomorrow, which is the day after this new moon eclipse. So it's been very forefront in my energy and my experience in this last 2 weeks. And yeah, I'm just wondering how you might all be doing. Um, do put a comment in the uh, in the YouTube piece if you happen to see this on YouTube. Um, I, it's just a wild ride, and yeah, this journey from full moon to new moon has been epic. Many I've spoken with have found themselves quite scattered and have had to draw on their breath work or being able to find time to go out in really just be in nature, to get away from tech, to get away from technology. And one evening last week, I heard the sea calling me, and I'd had a day of dealing with emails and admin and setting up the new pilgrimage, the Mystic Rose pilgrimage group that's just started. Um, and I just had to down everything by the time it got to about 6 o'clock in the evening and just make my way to the shore and just be there to walk as close to the edge of the water and just to be in the elements. And I really recognize that when I go to the shore here, I'm connected in with the earth, the element of earth, the substance element of earth, and the water and the air. There's always a variable wind um, where I have the nearest piece of shoreline, and I usually end up going as the sun is going down. Because it's just the view, that big sky view, and being able to just tune in to really connect with the solar energies. Um, from an astrological point of view, I'm all air and water. So it's very good for me to be on the earth and stood on the earth barefoot, and to be somewhere where I can connect with the fire energy, which is, of course, what the solar energy, and particularly in the sunrise, which has got a lot of red um, frequency light in it, and also with the setting sun at the end of the day, um, that is so beneficial for us. And so I really valued being able to do that. So have you been able to spend time in nature? Have you been able to just as simply, we're at the end of the season here now, but just to go and smell the roses? I tend in the morning after my meditation to be able to just go and well, it's been a deadheading process, but just to really honor these end of season roses who that are always quirky. They're never in the form that they were in June. And I don't know, there's something as an Aquarian that sort of pulls me to that. I like that sort of quirkiness of the form, and the scent is still exquisite. Um, and we've had some days when there's been raindrops on roses, and they are always such a joy to photograph, um, which is one of the things that really brings me really into connection, being able to connect with the heart of the rose through the lens of my camera and allow the rose to dialogue with me, which probably isn't why I ended up working with roses. Um, yeah, I just, and some people, I know that there's been just sort of a fatigue that comes out of the blue, and they're absolutely fine, and then their energy just pancakes, and you've just got to sit and allow that wave to move through. We are really in such a time of fast acceleration, and the complexity of the astrology that we're moving through with so many of the outer planets retrograde. So there's a sort of an unsettledness and unknowingness as we have to sort of look back. And a retrograde planet will always invite us to review, to look back and go, actually, is there something that I've not dealt with here? Is there something that has got another truth to give me that I haven't fully acknowledged? And so won't be until we really get into next year, probably into about May time, until all of these outer planets, which hold the bigger picture of our journey here on the Earth, but also particularly at this time, because this is extraordinary. The geometries of the major planets like Pluto and Uranus, and how that's going to be holding us, along with the dynamic with Neptune, which sits right in the middle of this dynamic. This is going to be holding us all the way through into 2026. And so this is something that is a framework that is enabling the shift that the personal planets are bringing us. So we are in this big epoch of shift as a collective, but there is also the refinement of what our soul is calling for. What are we being refined and aligned for? What is this diamond of the heart being polished and honed for us to hold uniquely? Each one of us holds a unique frequency. We've been beautifully placed. Wherever we are on planet Earth, we've been beautifully placed to be a bridge, an alchemical bridge to bridge heaven on earth. And what that does is it activates the heart. And so when we are in the right place and in that alignment, that verticality, so we can hold our arms out and embrace all of our life, all of life. It's an equal armed cross, right? All of our life, which allows the rose of the heart to be radiant. And sometimes it is just a kind word in the corner shop that has the difference to change someone's life and be a ripple in their field of influence, in their particular mandala of love. The mandalas of love and the work that I do with the roses, that brings me into working within the trauma field of the heart, but in the heart of home and on the earth. And mandalas, the mandala of love might be our family of birth, our blood family, who have come to perhaps be champions for us and really encourage us on, or they might be the ones that are like the grit that makes the pearl. And then we have our mandala of love that is our family of frequency, those that come and gather with us, where we are seen and we see another, because we can see that we are all holding a facet of that. I mean, I often see gatherings like a bouquet of roses, when I saw the group that had gathered for the 6 month pilgrimage, the Mystic Rose pilgrimage, gather for the first time on last Thursday. It was just like this beautiful bouquet. And actually, if you buy a bunch of roses, even in the supermarket, and you look into the the patterning on the top of the rose, each one will be different. They might look as though they're a bunch of all the same roses, but actually, each one has got a unique fingerprint. And so when we come together with family of frequency, we find ourselves in that place. So let's see what the roses have got to offer us for this particular new moon at 29 degrees of Virgo. Rose Bagua 2. Now, this rose actually came to me when I was doing a space clearing consultation in San Ginesio in Marche in Italy. And she was blooming just outside of the little refugio that the little house that I was staying in. And she speaks about relationship. Rose Bagua, she sits in the rose Bagua, the 9 roses from the rose Bagua, and she talks of relationship, right relationship, and our relationship to ourselves. She works on the axis of the lover in the way that I work with the rose Bagua. And so this is about the relationship of the lover of life. So what is it that still lights you up, that still engages you with life? It's like I was saying about my trip to the shore. When I stood there and it brought tears to my eyes, the beauty of the water, the rippling water that was coming, dancing towards my feet, bathed in the golden light, in the rays of the setting sun, and the breeze on my face, and yet the feeling of the substance under my feet. So how can we be more in love with life, more lovers of life and our journey here? This, I feel, is what she's inviting us to. This actually, where I was in San Ginesio is on the pilgrimage route to Assisi. And actually, when I went on to Assisi and to the little chapel, the tiny chapel down in the bottom of Assisi, that is the really the really special place. This is, there were just roses, beds and beds of roses around a statue of St. Francis. And yeah, there's something here about this sense of connection and what is what still has the ability to move you, that brings you into that sense of connection into self and your journey here on the earth plane. And sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it's a wild ride to try and find any sense of what we're experiencing on the outer lens, but on the inner lens, of course, on the inner screen of our lives, we can see a bigger picture, and we can perhaps see the part that we came to play. And it's all to do with frequency. It's about honing your craft and holding your frequency. What's the second rose? Rose Angel 1. And she's a rose that often gets overlooked in the oracle. But I love this rose. She is so open, and she's got her golden corona really visible, and she's not come alone. She's come with friends. And this rose is all about surrendering into the flow of your life. Stop trying to control. let go and allow, or let go and let God, allow the stream, the current, let go of the banks. What are you holding on to? Let go and allow this amazing time that we're in to take you where it needs to go. So these two, are very much about our current experience here and allowing ourselves to be fully in the magic of what is unfolding, even if we don't necessarily understand or um, can can quite comprehend the craziness of it all. So let's see what the third rose is. You might hear a little chirrup. Miss Rosie, the temple cat, is has decided she would come and say hello. Uh, so what have we got as our third rose that's guiding us at this particular point on this new moon? Rose Bagwell 1. And Rose Bagwell 1 is on the path of the visionary, the axis of the visionary in the Rose Bagua. And she's all about new beginnings. Perfect, perfect rose for a new moon rose reading. Where is that new beginning for you? Where is that calling? What is done? What is giving you all its juice? And you are ready to experience something new. It is said many of the different things that I've sort of tuned in on in this last week around this eclipse, which is so swiftly followed by the equinox. There is something here about closures and the new opening. I know, new moons are, historically always said about, new moons, new beginnings. But this feels such a potent, almost an initiation that we've been through in this window in Virgo. So here she is. She's sitting here with potential. She's not alone. She's come with potential. And, this radiant golden light. So again, what is lighting up on your pathway? What is calling you forward? So these three together are really giving us a very strong sense of, what is this sense of the lover of life. And actually, for those that might be have a connection to the Sufi mystics and Rumi, and actually the rose garden was always that sort of sense of the place of the lovers or the lover of life, because of the beauty of the rose opening the heart to potential, to a different experience of life. Rose Angel 1. Just getting ourselves out of the way, letting go of holding onto the bank, actually allowing the heart to open and know that you're not alone. You're with your family of frequency. You are with those who are journeying with you and being open to welcome this new beginning. What wants to be finally released? What old pattern, what old pattern of thought or belief wants to be finally released to embrace this new pathway forward? So let's see what the rose dragons want to offer us as an adjunct to this. What else can they possibly say? So which of the rose dragons, please, wants to come and offer their wisdom to add to this reading? Which are the rose dragons, please? Okay. There's an interesting one. Celestial Rose Dragon 5. And this rose speaks to us of strength, this deep resource within self. And, and yet, look at this rosette. There's a little gap in the side here that's saying, don't be closed. Hold this strength, hold this resource within, but be willing to make course correction, or be willing to open to something that you hadn't even dreamed of that could come through the new possibilities that come from this new beginning, or surrendering into the flow and being aware of being that lover of life and what that magnetizes, because this is a magnetic energy, right? And she says, you've got it. Here you are. You have got the strength, but don't close the loop altogether. Be open to the new. Be open to something coming left field that you haven't quite thought of. But know that you are supremely held and supported through this journey. This is all about strength, resource within. So, they are a powerful, powerful set of roses for this time. What else have I got to share? Oh, for those of you that are on the newsletter, look out there for a special offer. I'm running a special offer through to the next new moon in October, on the one-to-one rose mandala of love readings, which are sort of part healing, part reading, part inspirational soul guidance. So there will be a special offer coming out on the newsletter. So wishing you power and peace as we go through this this new moon eclipse in just a few hours, in 4 hours, and and enjoy the equinox. This place of balancing the nights and the days, which for me also is about the in-breath and the out-breath. It's about the balancing of the masculine and feminine. It's about the giving and the receiving. This is another invitation to just check in and see where we are in ourselves. What's this balance? And I'm actually going to be at Titchfield Abbey here on the Bolinas line, right down at the bottom of the Bolinas line in Hampshire, as part of an event at Titchfield Abbey tomorrow at 12 noon. And I'll be taking the roses with me and offering a rose guided meditation to connect in with the energy node that is at Titchfield Abbey. Titchfield Abbey is on the Bolinas Ellen line, the spine of Albion. And when you come into these crossing points, so they are nodes, they're like chakras on the body of Mother Earth. And in my conversation with Rory Duff and speaking of this probably some years ago now, how he sees it is when in this harmony time, when there is conscious intention and attention brought to these beautiful node points, that they open like roses. So how perfect is that? That's where I shall be tomorrow at 12 noon, with the roses and the opportunity to connect with the node and the energy lines. that run down through to the Isle of Wight and also down into France, and then right up through the UK to the tip of Scotland. Whatever your plans are, enjoy, go well, and whenever possible, stop and smell the roses. Bye for now.